of days ago, I was reading Morning Star by Pierce Brown, and towards the end of the book, when everything looked pretty good for the main characters, suddenly one of the characters acted in a very shocking way, and everything turned. The story, the plot, everything went downhill for the main characters basically, and I was just thinking, wow, how are they gonna get out of there? Everything got worse and worse, and nearly when you thought, okay, there is no way something can happen right now, the plot turned yet again. Everything turned around, there was a shocking twist, and the characters started winning. At this point, you feel triumph, you feel shock, and to be sure, this is a plot twist, and this is a book I won't forget that quickly. So if you want your reader to never forget your story and never forget your book, then build in plot twists. Even if you're writing a short story, a blog post, whatever it is, if you're using storytelling for that, you have to build in plot twists, shocking plot twists that will make your reader never forget your story. But how can we actually build believable and strong plot twists that will make your story unforgettable? Let me give you 5 suggestions of how you can do this. So the first step is drive your story into another direction. So whenever you're giving hints to your audience and to your reader and to your main character, whom they are following, obviously, you have to drive them into another direction, mislead them in some way. So whatever hints you're giving, make sure that those hints can be interpreted in several ways. And the way your main character interprets them, your reader follow him, and they are completely off into another direction. You can also trick your reader by having the main characters know something that he doesn't, which actually Pierce Brown did in Morning Star. So the main characters knew this thing all along, which the reader and everybody around them didn't know. So it was a big setup, and the main characters were in the big setup, but I as a reader didn't know until the big reveal. And this is something you can do as well. You can mislead the reader but not the main characters. Number 2, use character arcs. So if you want the plot twist to be good and believable and shocking, don't use Deus Ex Machina, which is basically something happening from the outside to the characters and they can't control it, like a car accident or, I don't know, the plane crashing or somebody dying of cancer or whatever. Because this is not a strong plot twist. Yeah, it is a twist, but it wasn't like a decision from somebody else. If you want to have strong plot twists, use characters and use character-driven plot twists, which means the twists have to be a decision of your character. Use the character arcs, use the development of one character who goes into another direction, and then he stands at a crossroad. And both his decisions, whether he makes the one decision or the other one, are believable for his character arc. So you as a reader, you have to wonder which path he will take, because both could be true for the character, and then let him take maybe some path he didn't expect, or something that is kind of plausible but you didn't expect it right away. So the main and most interesting plot twists actually come from character decision and character arcs. And very interesting plot twists are those when the main character shows his true face, a face you didn't know existed, a dark side you didn't know he had, or maybe on the contrary, a good side you didn't know he had. So when the protagonist, for example, not the protagonist, but the best friend of the protagonist, or even the protagonist, act in a very dark and unsuspecting way you didn't think they had it in them. Or on the other hand, when the antagonist suddenly does something really good and you didn't expect that from him. But this is really important. You have to set it up. So number 3 is set up the plot twist. The plot twist cannot come out of the blue. If it does, your reader will feel cheated. So the plot twist has to be set up. How do you do that? You had these hints that you placed all over the place. But those hints, for example, could be misinterpreted by the reader or by the main characters, and they follow them into this misinterpretation. Or you placed hints that weren't like very obvious. So they were like minor, but the reader didn't pay attention to them. And then when you have this plot twist, all of a sudden you think, oh wow, this was really important, I didn't think of that. And it has to be like an aha moment for the reader. So the reader is like, okay, I didn't see that coming, but I should have, you know. So this has to be like this, it has to be obvious, and the reader has to think, okay, actually this is really obvious and I should have seen it coming, but I didn't, because you as the writer were so cunning that you hit those hints really carefully and place them really carefully in a way that could be interpreted into something else. And then when everything comes together and you see the big picture and you have this big plot twist, the reader thinks, okay, it makes sense. And this is the feeling you have to leave with the reader, not the confused one. Okay, it makes no sense. Why did they act this way? Not just the plot twist for the sake of a plot twist. This is a weak twist. You have to set it up. Number 4, use the rise and fall of emotions. So the best plot twists are those that are also emotionally loaded. This is why I say that building character-driven plot twists is actually the way to go, because they're really emotionally driven and they will take your reader on a ride. For example, the plot twist in The Morning Star, it was carefully set up by the friendship from the beginning on that this character and the main character had, and you were really rooting for this character to make the right decision, and you were wondering how this friendship is going to end and will he do the right thing or not. And it was set up from the beginning on, and it was the writer played on the emotions of those characters, of the friendship that he has built throughout actually the first 2 books as well. So this was a really strong thing. So try to play with the theme, with the emotions, with the characters. So when the plot twist occurs, it takes your reader on an emotional ride as well. Not only a mind twist, but also like an emotional twist as well. So especially for the twists in the very ending of the book, which are the strongest, by the way, they have to be also driven by theme and by characters. So make sure you build in the theme, the thing that you wanted to express. So for example, in The Morning Star, the theme was that friendship can defeat the difference that divide us, like nations and all the other things, morale and all our upbringing and so on. So friendship is the strongest force in the universe, and by this decision of the character and the big plot twist in the end, it actually played into the theme, saying that yes, friendship can overcome the differences that divide us. So make sure that when you build in your plot twists, you think of theme and what you're saying with this plot twists in terms of life and what they're saying about life in general. And number 5 is incorporate double and triple twists for the ultimate shock to reach the unforgettability. So, for example, if you've seen the movie The Invisible Guest, it was such a great movie. And what I remember about it was that all the time we had those plot twists. So when you think you figured out the story of the murder, again and again there's a twist. So like it starts with some minor twists like here and there, and it builds to something really shocking, but the last twist you really don't see it coming. It's like, wow. So it's full of twists. You think that you have the characters figured out, and then something changes and something is revealed, and you think, okay, wow, this is incredible. But they build like to this major twist that grabs you, that really shocks you and grabs you and won't let go. And this is how you actually build unforgettable stories, by these shocking moments and twists and the emotional rides you take your readers on. So for the ultimate shock, build in several twists. Like with The Morning Star, for example, they had 2 twists. So they had one of these twists that everything went downhill emotionally for the reader, and then everything went up again with this major twist. And make sure your twists are clever, character-driven, theme-driven, and also building upon each other for the ending to the ultimate plot twist. So if you want your story to be unforgettable, make sure to build in plot twists. They make a story interesting, they make it shocking, they take your reader on an emotional ride if you do them right. And this way you will build a story your readers won't forget that soon.